And maybe the American Bankers Association would decide, maybe just a few of them, to stop opposing the Consumer Financial Protection Agency. You know what I'm talking about here? This is an agency. There's a bill which I introduced, which a fellow named Barack Obama decided to make part of his administration. I'm pretty proud of that. And he said, we've got to have one agency of government looking out for Nettie McGee and every single one of us. There's got to be one agency of government out there to protect workers and families and consumers from what happened to Nettie McGee. Well, unfortunately, the American Banking Association and virtually all the bankers, including a lot of community bankers, are opposing it. They come up with the worst arguments in the world, and they make no sense at all. We understand what's at stake here. I also want to say that for those who come to visit Chicago, enjoy this great city. But take a look around. Get outside the loop. Now, I know Tom Balinoff is a great fan of that show 90210. But I would like to invite the bankers that come to Chicago to a different zip code. I'd like to invite them to 60629. You know where 60629 is? It's out by Midway Airport. Going out to that little zip code. You know, you see it when you fly in there or you drive around that neighborhood. Nice, neat little brick bungalow homes, well kept. Some swimming pools in the backyard, a lot of hard-working families. On every single block in the zip code 6029, you know what you're going to find? A foreclosed home. Going over to Marquette Park, and I've been there. Walk through Marquette Park, as I have, and I know what you're going to find. On every single block, you are going to find some building with plywood over what used to be windows. I stopped at one of them, looked across the street, and there was a retired couple sitting on the front porch wondering what Durbin and all the cameras were doing. And I said to him, how long has that house been boarded up across the street? He said, 2 years. I said, what's going on there? Well, he said, nothing except weeds and trash. And it isn't just the trash in the yard, it's the trash that comes into that house at night. It's the drug dealers, it's the people, the gangs that are running rampant all over our neighborhoods. It's folks yanking out what's left of the copper plumbing, and the house just sits. And this poor man who's sitting on his front porch with his wife in a neat little house is watching the value of his property go down. That isn't just Marquette Park. It's a story you're going to find in Aurora, Illinois, in Decatur, Illinois, in Springfield, Illinois, in Peoria, Illinois, all across America. And I want to ask these bankers, what is their responsibility? They do believe they have a responsibility to buy a lot of advertising and tell us how much they love this community and how much they want to serve it. What does it come to when it's their foreclosed property that's driving down property values and creating crime in these neighborhoods? They've got to step up and do the right thing. And I gave them an opportunity. If you go into bankruptcy court today and you're facing bankruptcy, the judge has some powers. The judge can take a look at you if you still have a job and your debts. And the judge can reconfigure some of those debts. Decide what your car payment's going to be. Decide what your payment's going to be if you happen to have a farm or a ranch or a second home. But under the current law in America, the bankruptcy judge cannot change the terms of your mortgage on your home. On your home. It's not right. Twice now I've tried to change that, and twice the bankers have beaten me. But I ain't giving up. I'm not giving up. I believe those bankers have a responsibility. A responsibility to work with families to keep them in their homes. A responsibility to work with families that are facing tough times to at least let them stay on as renters. A responsibility to take those boarded up homes and turn them into opportunities for housing. Go to the homeless shelters of America and you know what you're going to find? 1 out of 10 people in homeless shelters across America are victims of foreclosure. 1 out of every 10. Right here in the Midwest, it's 1 out of every 6 people in a homeless shelter victims of foreclosure. As long as those plywood boarded up houses are sitting there, we're not going to have an economic recovery. These banks have to realize they can't sit on these neighborhoods, sit on these families, and sit on economic opportunity across America.